I'm really looking forward to it.
The Honourable Peter Dunne.
Mr Speaker, I want to say a word or two today about tolerance, a rapidly declining commodity in today's world. But before I begin, sir, can I pay my tribute to those who lost family, loved ones and friends in the horrific attack in Manchester yesterday. Mr Speaker, I hope that the British authorities are able to bring to justice those responsible quickly and swiftly before there can be further attacks. Inevitably, in a situation like this, there is a period of recrimination, and that is where the issue of tolerance for diversity becomes important. This is an unacceptable act by unacceptable people. Do not damn a whole race or a whole creed on the basis of the activities of a few. And, Mr Speaker, we have overtones of that same extremism occurring in New Zealand when it comes to the debate about immigration. If you believe some people, immigration in New Zealand is depriving New Zealanders of jobs, preventing them from buying houses, tearing up our way of life and destroying all that is good in this country. In fact, immigration is adding to our diversity, adding to our richness and creating opportunities which we never had before. Mr Speaker, according to the Reserve Bank, New Zealand is going through one of the longest growth periods of the last 50 years. We're seeing employment growing at 2 to 2.5% per annum, unemployment is falling, and house prices, after their huge surge, are stabilising and falling quite sharply, and more sharply than anywhere else in Auckland. So for all those who want to play the immigration or the race card for political advantage and cite those dire facts that they do, they are doing the Trumpist work of false news, of alternative information, etc. Mr Speaker, this country was built on immigration. This country prides itself on its diversity. The fact that we do accommodate a mix of cultures and a mix of peoples here, and as a consequence become stronger as the people that live on these particular islands. It takes events like those in Britain to remind us of the dangers we face in today's environment, but also to warn us against overreaction, stigmatisation and extremism as the reply to those horrific activities. Mr Speaker, what underpins all of this debate in New Zealand, the bile, the prejudice and the bigotry that we see uttered by some, it's not about the facts, it's about what they see as short-term advantages, milking fear for political purpose. It is unacceptable in this country, Mr Speaker, and when New Zealanders have a chance later this year to express their preferences, I strongly urge them to deny the bigots, the racists and the peddlers of false truth the representation that they seek. Because, Mr Speaker, they will tear this country apart. You cannot set person against person, culture against culture, ethnicity against ethnicity, and expect to have a strong and vibrant nation as a result. We will grow as a consequence of the migration that has occurred over the last years, the influx of skills, the demand that those skills have created, the fact that our children and our children's children are going to become a much more cosmopolitan mix of cultures, which will mean New Zealanders will be able to play an even greater part in the world than they do today. Putting up the wall around our borders, trying to stigmatise those who are different as the cause of our problems is a remarkably short-sighted, a vindictive and vile act, Mr Speaker. And I don't think that a tolerant society should have any truck with the extremism, the bigotry, the intolerance and the ignorance that lies behind those sorts of sentiments. They are unacceptable in this country, Mr Speaker, and I believe very strongly New Zealanders ought to reject these absolutely negative, critical, irresponsible bigots that are amongst us.
I call Alistair Scott.
Thank you, Mr Speaker.